Hi, everybody. This is Cave Cat again, here today to bring you episode 58 of Cave Cat's movie and TV reviews. Wow, I can't believe that we're actually 2 episodes away from reaching episode 60 of the series. But anyway, today's episode is going to be rather bizarre, and boy, is this one going to be a doozy. That's because the show that I'll be reviewing today is none other than The Adventures of Sam and Max Freelance Police, or just simply known on screen as just Sam and Max. To start things off, The Adventures of Sam and Max Freelance Police was actually based off the rather adult comic Sam and Max Freelance Police, created by Steve Purcell. The main characters for both the comic and the TV series are Sam, an anthropomorphic dog, and Max, a hyperkinetic rabbity thing. I have no idea why none of the characters ever think to call Max a rabbit, since that's what he's supposed to resemble anyway. So, of course, in 1997, Nelvana had produced an animated series based on the Sam and Max comics that aired on Fox Kids. So that's right, this makes this the 7th time that I've reviewed a Nelvana series. But anyway, as in the comics, the TV series focuses on Sam and Max going on all sorts of crazy adventures to either stop evil villains or just to embark on a mission to complete a rather mundane task, such as looking for a set of lost keys. And aside from Sam and Max themselves, we also get other characters such as Darla Guggenheek, or otherwise known as the Geek, a preteen child genius who often provides the duo with various gadgets to help them out in their adventures, Lorne, the friend for life, a nerdy guy who believes himself to be Sam and Max's best friend, but in actuality is nothing more than a clingy and obsessive creep, and the Commissioner, who is never seen but often gives Sam and Max their assignments. I admit that I never really saw the show when it first came out, but I actually watched a few episodes in preparation for this review, and what do I think of it? To tell you the truth, it's actually very surreal. I'm not kidding or even exaggerating when I say that the show has a huge level of surrealism in it. It's not as surreal as that of the Ren and Stimpy show or even the Ripping Friends, but this definitely feels like it's more on par with that of the 1980s Garbage Pail Kids cartoon or even Mr. Bogus. However, in contrast to the latter two shows, it feels like that the surrealism has been ramped up to 11, even more so than that of the original comics, and I never even read the original Salmon comics, mainly because I was too young to read such comics at the time anyway. Not to mention that a lot of the adventures that the titular duo get into can range from bizarre to just outright insane, especially when it comes to the dynamic between our main characters, with Sam being the more level headed and logical one when it comes to assessing the situation, and Max being the more impulsive and rambunctious one who is prone to acting without thinking. In a way, they feel like they could very well be the precursors to that of Sully and Mike from Disney and Pixar's Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, since both duos are made up of a tall, logical minded straight man and a shorter, wise guy with a short temper, as well as the fact that both duos have characters whose names start with the letters S and M. Coincidence? But anyway, speaking of Pixar, Steve Purcell himself actually later went on to become a crew member at Pixar, working on such films as Cars, Ratatouille, Brave, Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, and several others. But back to Sam and Max, a lot of the humor is just so insane and outlandish that sometimes it's hard to keep up with what's going on in the plot. Even though the show is a bit too surreal for my taste, one running gag that always gets the most chuckles out of me is that whenever Sam and Max get an incoming phone call, they end up getting in a mad dash and scuffle with each other to try and answer the phone, with Sam being the one to always answer the phone. It may be insane and crazy, but it's still amusing to see. Throughout the series, we've seen Sam and Max go to many different and strange and exotic locales, such as the moon, Mount Olympus, Central Park, and even dimensions inside a refrigerator. Yes, it is as strange as it sounds. Not even the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon actually went to this extent. I mean, yes, the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon did have stuff like a giant plant monster eating everything in sight, a Mona Lisa parody, a parody of Cupid trying to make other kids fall in love with each other, a parody of The Wizard of Oz, and even mermaids and sea creatures in an underwater western setting. But it never went as far as to have a deranged TV dinner living in a dimension inside a refrigerator, or even trying to raise a baby alligator. So in a way, I feel that the show feels more like a cross between the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon and the Ren and Stimpy show, what with the combination of surrealism and dark humor, and the fact that the characters are constantly thrown into any random situation that the writers and producers can think of. And I'm not really too fond of Ren and Stimpy anyway. I'm not afraid to admit that, whether it's the original series or even the Adult Party cartoon series. So yeah, my feelings on Sam and Max Freelance Police are very much the same, since not only do I find the series to be too insane and surreal, but I just couldn't find myself enjoying the series since it's based off of an IP that doesn't really catch my interest. Though it's no surprise that the series only lasted for one season anyway before getting cancelled a year later. So I think you all know what that means. I will give The Adventures of Sam and Max Freelance Police 6.5 stars. Again, I apologize that this review was rather short, since like when I reviewed Space Cats in the previous episode, there wasn't really much for me to talk about regarding Sam and Max Freelance Police. It probably has to do with the fact that I wasn't even aware that it was based off of a rather edgy adult comic produced back in the late 1980s, since Nelvana has a habit of making animated shows based off of various books, comics, toy lines, and even live-action movies. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed quite a number of Nelvana shows growing up, since I reviewed quite a few of them in the past. Need I bring up my reviews of the Magic School Bus, Beetlejuice, and Babar the movie? However, not all of their animated shows hit it well with a lot of people when they were first released, but others, like the Magic School Bus, Beetlejuice, and even Babar, were able to pick up more seasons due to having successful runs on television. But with Sam and Max Freelance Police, a lot of people were apparently turned off by the insanity and the surrealism of the show, and that's definitely how I felt about this show as well. But before I wrap up this review, there's actually another thing about the show that I really liked. The theme song slaps! Yes, you heard me. Despite what I said about the show, I actually enjoyed the theme song. It's catchy and it really sets the mood for what adventure Sam and Max are about to get themselves into. But other than that, I just found the show to have an astonishing amount of surrealism, insanity, and mediocrity to it that I just couldn't be able to completely sit through the show when I watched it on YouTube. But again, I love the theme song and the running gag of Sam and Max trying to answer the phone. But other than that, it's just craziness abound. Well, that's it for this episode of Cave Cat's movie and TV reviews. Once more, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell for more episodes or other videos from yours truly. So until next time, see you in the future!